We have breaking news tonight as we watch tensions mount on the Portland State campus. Dozens of pro-Palestinian protesters still gathered tonight outside and inside the Portland State Library. Protesters vandalizing businesses during a march downtown. DA Mike Schmidt saying his office stands ready to prosecute any criminal activity from protesters. Meanwhile, Portland State announcing just hours ago campus will be open tomorrow. Portland police not yet moving in to clear protesters at this point. Good evening. Thanks for joining us for Katu News at 11 o'clock. I'm Deborah Knapp. Katu's on your side with live team coverage. Victor Park and Thanvi Varma are outside the PSU campus right now, outside the library area. Let's get right to Thanvi Varma. So you've been there all evening. What have you seen, Thanvi?
Yeah, well, Deb, despite the fact that class is in session tomorrow and that it's raining, the protesters are still here. I'm going to step out of the frame so you can see. It looks like a few dozen people are still there. They've been chanting and their energy has been quite high. You might be able to see that they have a little bonfire set up in what looks like a trash can. They've also added additional barriers. You can see what looks like a fence just around the outside perimeter of them. And if you move in this way, you can see that they have a medic tent set up, presumably if something goes wrong. And then if we pan over a little bit to the left-hand side once more, you can see some of the graffiti that's been added. There's various iterations of Free Gaza and Free Palestine. People are dressed in black. Many are wearing head garbs. Some are wearing bright green hats. We will be monitoring the situation. We will let you know what we find out. I'm at PSU. Thanvi Varma, Katu News.
Definitely feels calm there at this point right now, Thanvi. Thank you. And again, Katu's on your side covering this breaking news from every angle. We want to go to Victor Park. Victor, you're on the north side of where the library is. What are you seeing?
That's right, Deb. In fact, we are on the opposite end of where you saw Thanvi's live shot, and I do want to show you this perspective right here. This is pretty much the entrance of the library where a lot of protesters have been staying at for several days now. Just before we came on the air, we heard some loud chanting. As Thanvi noted, we also saw some bonfires being set up, some fire, some flames over there. And so a lot of those people over there have convened closer towards the library. They were kind of scattered a few minutes ago, but they went closer and, of course, started chanting. Otherwise, no sign of any police presence here, and it has remained calm since we have been here over the last couple of hours. We'll keep you posted here on Katu News. Let's turn it back to you.
Okay, Victor, thank you. Now, Portland police say they are patrolling the area around campus tonight. We asked them if they have any plans to move on campus tonight. They said they have no updates and referred us to a statement they sent out earlier today saying work is being done in the background to find a resolution, and they're emphasizing de-escalation. But they say people choosing to remain and engage in unlawful actions risk arrest and prosecution. They noted they had a plan to move in last night, but conditions changed, so they decided to delay that for the well-being of all involved. Well, this evening, some businesses in downtown Portland cleaning up after demonstrators marching through the May Day march through downtown smashed windows. They spray painted graffiti as they went. Portland police tell us they received multiple reports of broken windows, spray painted graffiti, and there was at least one report of a commercial grade firework being detonated. We saw multiple windows again smashed and graffiti at the Starbucks location. That's at Pioneer Courthouse Square. Nordstrom across the street also tagged. Police say other businesses hit included banks, coffee shops, cell phone and electronic stores, retail clothing and accessory shops, and property belonging to Portland State University campus. And people we talked to downtown say it brings back memories of the 2020 protests.
First thing that kind of was in the back of my mind is like, not again. Basically, like, you know, I'm all for protesting, but the whole let's destroy Portland is kind of getting old.
Police tell us they are working to get a full inventory of the damage. No arrests have been made so far, but they are continuing to investigate, and charges could come later. The protest march started as a May Day rally in the South Park blocks. May Day, of course, is normally marked with rallies for immigrant and workers' rights across the country. Many of the demonstrators this year say they're standing in solidarity with Palestinians and the people in Gaza. Dozens of people marched through downtown past City Hall and Pioneer Courthouse Square and then back to PSU Library. Just in the last 2 hours, District Attorney Mike Schmidt says he's ready to prosecute cases related to criminal activity from the protest. In fact, in a statement released tonight, he said, quote, "The destruction occurring at demonstrations tonight is unacceptable and will not be tolerated. Damaging property, making threats, and perpetrating violence are not acceptable. Meaningful or productive ways to make a point. These are destructive behaviors that harm community members and local businesses. My office stands ready to prosecute cases related to these activities after reviewing evidence gathered and provided to us by law enforcement." Monday night, the group broke in and took over the library. That's when they started building barricades and limiting who could go inside. Windows have been broken, graffiti spray painted throughout the interior. In fact, this afternoon, PSU issued a statement saying anyone remaining in the building is committing criminal trespass. Tensions on the campus, again, also rising today. Katu crews saw several verbal fights break out. We've also seen people dropping off supplies like food, shampoo, and bedding. Many of the remaining protesters are choosing not to speak today. We asked to talk to somebody as part of the chain of command, and we're told that person wasn't available today. People outside stopping by tell us they're ready for the protesters to give up so people can go back inside, and say causing this much damage to a public building is overshadowing the point.
I really think it's too excessive. They shouldn't barricade themselves in a public building, especially a public school building.
PSU President Ann Cudd today sending out a letter with updates about ongoing negotiations with protesters. The letter reads, in part, we offered to guarantee no expulsion, suspension, or change to their status, and that the university would not file criminal charges. In return, the students agreed to refrain from violating student codes of conduct as they continue to exercise their full rights to free speech on campus. Cudd says they thought they had a deal, but students ultimately chose not to sign it. Tonight, state leaders weigh in on the protests on the PSU campus. In fact, Governor Tina Kotek says she agrees with the way President Cudd is handling the situation so far. She tells Katu she's in touch with university administrators.
I have spoken directly with President Cudd at Portland State University to check in with her. I think that was yesterday. I think she's taking a very thoughtful, measured approach on how to handle the situation on her campus. Here's what I would say. I believe in the nonviolent expression of free speech. I do not support discriminatory harassment or violence or property damage. I think that needs to be dealt with. I do think universities are doing it in different ways. I do think we have seen some very peaceful expressions of free speech that are appropriate on our campuses here. So we'll continue to monitor that. What I want to say to families who have any concerns, we are watching it. We will make sure things don't get out of hand. And also, I think we want to make clear that Oregon is a place where we honor the exchange of ideas and free expression, but we do it in a way that people can feel safe and supported.
The governor says she and Oregon State Police will send additional resources if needed, but at this point she believes Portland police have a good plan and they are just standing by. Lawmakers are also weighing in. Some are urging President Cudd to take immediate action and remove students from the occupied library building. House Republican leader Jeff Helfrich says delaying the removal process will only enable students to continue their occupation.
I'm not sure why we're negotiating about somebody that's occupying a space that they're not supposed to occupy. I don't understand the negotiation part of that. Yeah, people are trespassing. If they want to have their freedom of speech and their voices heard, great. Have that outside. Have that in places that it's allowable.
Democrats in both the House and Senate were not available for an interview today, but Representative Dacia Graber, a Democrat whose district includes the PSU campus, sent a written statement saying she's working with university administrators and supports negotiations. The statement reads in part, more conflict and violence will not solve this problem. We must sit down to seek a resolution. Stay with Katu for continuing coverage of the protest at PSU and the protests on campuses nationwide. We have a team monitoring the situation at PSU overnight, and we'll bring you new developments on air starting at 4:30 tomorrow morning. You can also catch the latest updates on our website, Katu.com, and social media pages.